Yes, good morning. I'm so glad to share another topic to be discussed and to be shared with the class. And this is all about text structures of writing under our quarter one with two. Okay, so our objectives for these are as follow. We have this: learn the essential substances of text structure of writing, determine the techniques to be used for effective introduction, identify rhetorical devices that can be used for academic writing from the introduction, body, and conclusion. Examine the cohesive devices applied for this academic writing. Now, nowadays, actually, are lots of students who are really having a difficulty when they are about to start for writing. What is the most difficult part of writing something? Of course, I give you a hint that the most difficult part is how to start to write. And the thing that you're going to do here is to think first before going to write. If your mind is actually having difficulty in generating ideas, there are some ways for you to practice and to do in order to be able to get rid from difficulty in writing. And some of these are as follow. We have this brainstorming where you are going to connect words. Think of words that can be connected to the prime principal topic of the discussion. You can also come up with clustering and mapping, where each identified word from the principal word can be connected. Is this the subparts of word connected to the principal word? And then we also have this listing and itemizing, where you are going to write down those words that you think it can be connected to the principal word or topic. And then you also have this what you call a storyboard telling. The storyboard telling, this is not new to all of you because you are actually encountering these or watching these on TV, where there is a storyboard happen on TV and you are expecting to another episode of board story for the continuations of the commercial. These are most likely presented in a form of commercial. And then we also have this what we call journalistic questions. These are questions that are being raised in a form of five W's and one Eds: who, what, where, when, and why, and how. So these are possible ways that the writer can probably be used to generate his ideas concerning a topic given by the teacher. Okay, or if it is not by the teacher and his own choice, if he thinks is really having a difficulty, those are some of the techniques that can be performed and be executed. Okay, let's continue. Now, the first text structures of writing is introductions, objectively speaking. It is a beginning section in writing that states the purpose and goals of the writing works or writing process. It is a part in writing where you will be hooked. You will present the background of information and the thesis and topic of the writing. So it's just like a matter in the introductions, body, and conclusion. This is also labeled as the beginning, the end, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Now, since it is the beginning point of the writing works or the writing product, in here, the writer needs to do some ways on how you would engage the readers to read his paper. It's just like a matter of getting their attentions, catching their attentions to be able to influence the readers to continue to read their writing product. And there are actually techniques to be observed for this. And these are the possible techniques. Okay, I'm sorry, if I over. Okay, we have the first one, the reported questions and journalistic questions. Like, for example, what can you say about the kind of life being practiced by those people living in a rural area. That is in a form of questions where you are starting your introductions using the five W's in one ends. It can also be in the narrative opening or anecdotes where the narrative opening you will be telling a kind of experience of your own, like for example, what made your day, your Sunday, what made your Sunday hectic. Okay, your Sunday is was a hectic day for you. Okay, so that's a narrative operating because you are going to tell a story, and then related to this is the anecdote. An anecdote is a kind of a story where there is an involvement of humorous experience. A concrete example for this is the work of Rizal, the story of Rizal, where he had lost his slipper. One pair of his slipper, one is missing, and the things that it did, he tried to throw the other pair into the river so that if ever someone will look at it, will find it, there could also be a chance and possibility to find the other pair of his slipper. So that's an example of anecdote. And then the coded remarks. What are those coded remarks? These are words, a statement, or even some kind of proverbs that we are actually adopting or lifting from our parents, from our ancestor. Like for example, you quoted this idea from Dr. Rizal that the youth are the hope of the fatherland. He said that, and you quote that the youth are the hope of the fatherland. Okay, then we also have this quotation. You can also start your introductions by saying time is gold in a form of quotations. These are just like life guiding principle. And what do you think are those life guiding principles that actually uh, that's your inner emotions or your being for you to be able to become a successful individual or achiever in the grade level where you are or in your restaurant as well. And then we have this striking statement, something that is really expressing a strong emotions. Like for example, how beautiful is the day is what made the day beautiful for you. And then the description. Okay, the description is also is just like a matter of describing the kind of activity that you are doing right now. For example, descriptions of those people who are actually in devastation, or if they are mess, what kind of descriptions are you seeing on them physically, emotionally, spiritually, and so on. And then definitions, sometimes you are also starting your introductions by defining by defining the term. For example, biology as a whole is a kind of is a physical science that deals with the study of life, a study of living things, or is a science that deals with life and living things. Okay, so you can start your introductions using any of the techniques listed on. And then the other one, we have these facts to be established. What are those facts that you think it can be established? Okay, um, the story or the inaugurations of the creations of flood control in Bebeana, which is actually a fact where it was actually visited and with the president and other officials in our province of Pampanga. So why do you think why this flood control is actually going to be constructed and be built in the locality of Masantol, Bebeana? So, as what I heard over on Facebook, it is going to be constructed in order to minimize a huge floods in among the following municipality of Pampanga. We have the Macabebe, Masantol, Santo Tomas, Minalin, Apalit. And the creation of this flood control would basically create some kind of drainages along the way, and then this drainages water from these drainages will pass through the eastern river, the Kaduang Teter River, and the Sapang Maragol River going to Manila Bay. So those are the facts that may probably be described or talk about concerning the creations and a building of blood control along the Bebe Anak Masantol. And then the problem to be solved. Now, what do you think are those problems existing nowadays? So, still flood is a main problem nowadays because of the climate change. We see and witness with our eyes that nowadays we have a good weather, and then in a matter of few hours the weather condition is going to be changed, and the sky will turn to be cloudy, and pouring of rain is starting to go down. uh, Okay, so that could be a problem to be solved so that almost all people will probably be taking their part individually on how we can minimize this kind of problem. Maybe as an individual, you might be planting trees to probably lessen the floods in our locality, and also coordinate with the LGU and also officials concerned so that this kind of every problems concerning floods can be prevented or minimized at all. Okay, that's for introduction. Now let's proceed for the next text structure. We have this the main body. Okay, technically, it is a leading part to showcase the evidence of the writer for his topic. It is said to be the middle part of an essay after the introduction and most relevant sections where all major points are elaborated and dissected. Support the work's topic and shed light on it. So, because it's in this part of the structure where all the explanations, details of information are going to be shared by the writer. All the evidence that the writer would like to bring out, would like to share to the readers, will basically included in the body of this writing works. That's why it is really essential for the writer to have a volume of information about the topic he is delivering or is actually developing in order to convince and influence the reader to read entirely the writing product written by the writer. Okay, let's continue. There are also some rhetorical devices to be used by the writer when developing an essay. And some of these are as follow. We have this process. You can develop an essay using the process where you are talking about a kind of step and procedures and guidelines. For example, how to bake a cake. So in baking a cake, you will be developing the paragraph. What are those tips or what are those steps to be followed to be able to create a baked cake. Okay, so you have to present the ingredients, and then afterward you do the process of mixing and so on and so on. And then you are basically doing this process and informing the public or the readers on how to do such a delightful cake for them. The next one we have this classification is a pattern of sorting and classifying things accordingly. For example, when you are in the classroom and you are going to classify the things that are intended, the materials that are intended for writing activity and the materials that are intended for laboratory activity. So what is the significance of classification is you are trying to arrange things in order and sorting things in order. Okay, and then the cause and effect. If there is a cause, there is an effect. Single cause, single effect, single cause, multiple effects, and single effect, multiple causes or chain reaction. So it's in that way on how the cause and effect works. So you can also develop an essay or even a paragraph by cause and effect where uh, the cause of what is because of climate change or perhaps the cutting of trees that made the land denuded, and once it is being denuded, all around the place turn out to be like an oceans. Flooded places are all around in the city. Okay, then we also have this comparison and contrast where there are two subjects that are going to be compared and contrasted. Similarities and differences of the two subjects are basically talking about. And then the definitions, just like what I said a while ago, when you are introduced, making an introductions, it's not only a matter of starting defining the first term, but you should have also kind of knowledge that can be extended to the definition of the term going to be defined in a form of essay, because it can be defined using the formal definition, the informal definitions, the semi definitions, and expounding the meaning of the term going to be used. And then the other device that can be used is analysis. Analysis is a form of getting deeper to the subject. So, like for example, you have an apple on your hand. If you are going to divide the apple, what you will see inside? You will see the core, you will see the flesh, you will see the seeds, that's inside. Now, what do you think are the functions of those parts of an apple that made you to think that they are really important? So every aspect, parts of that apple, including the core, the seed, the skin, are having great functions when it was being eaten by the person. Okay, or perhaps it could also be the parts of the computer. So the computer itself, it as when you divide it as the CPU, the monitor, the mouse, the keyboard. Missing of one cannot be considered as partition. All parts required for computer must all be identified, because once you miss one, it cannot be considered partitions. And then once you started to analyze the functions of the keyboard, the functions of the monitor, the mouse, and also the CPU, that's what you call analysis. Same thing in the classroom. Okay, the classroom, the word classroom, the class they're pertaining to the learners who are actually going to stay inside the classroom. And if it is considered the classroom, there is always a board where the teacher is going to write something for the discussion. And also, the teacher is also an important part of the classroom. Without the teacher, there will be no subject to be shared with the learners. And that is also an example of analysis. Okay, with all these rhetorical devices that can be used, these are very, very much useful in developing the body of writing works. Okay, let's proceed now to the next structure. The last structure, it is also named as end section of writing. It is said to be the final say on the issue you raise in your introduction. Whatever information you presented in your introductions as your topic, so the final say will be going to discuss, will be going to end up here. It start with a small transition that cues the ending. Sometimes you're also giving up some kind of to summing up them all. So those are some cohesive devices that create an indications that you are almost ending up your essay. Sometimes they're calling it concluding statement as a cue to finalize your conclusion. And then restate your thesis statement on your main point and end it with something meaningful and what possible possibilities as open up. So keep it short and sweet. So it's just like giving a moral lesson or restating the thesis statement that you presented in your introduction. Now, the conclusion, it can only made up of two or three sentences. That's good enough because this is just a final say of the writer concerning what has been presented in the introduction. Okay, then we also have this kind of cohesive devices. The cohesive devices, some of the cohesive devices that can be identified are as follow. The and, the also, the moreover, furthermore, additionally, both, and in addition, as a matter of fact, these are devices that shows addition. And then the other one, yet, but, ends, as a result, thus, as resulted, therefore, for, so, because, due to the fact, shows, result, cause and effect. And then the next one we have this on the contrary, in contrast, in the same manner, likewise, seemingly, whereas, shows comparison in contrast. And then first, second, third, next, then lastly, eventually, and finally, it shows order of things. Like for example, how to cook pancit canton. Okay, the first thing that you're going to do when cooking a pancit canton is, of course, you are going to get a casserole and then put some two glasses of water and then let it boil and then take the pancit canton product, pour it, take away the plastic covered label and also the seasoning. That's it. It's an essay by process where you use those first, second, third, and so on. So some devices, the cohesive devices, they have their own function also. They are not just going to be used anytime you want. You have to consider also their use and their function. Okay, any question? I hope you did understand the short discussions about text structure in writing. For your performance activity or performance task, you will be having an output here. Apply what you've learned. Pick one picture, then develop this into an essay, at least 250 words. The first one, this is plots happen in Macabebe in particular. And this is a classroom where the teacher is still inspiring the students to come despite the floods around Macabebe and Masantol. And then this one, our new appointed or yes, appointed DepEd Secretary Angara in replace to Sara Duterte. And this one is the inaugurations of the creations of flood control so that heavy floods during rainy season, high tide, or even southwest monsoon can probably be lessened and prevented. This was just actually happened last August 7, visited by excellent President Bongbong Marcos. That was August 7, 2024, Wednesday, with the presence of other officials in Pampanga, led by Pia Delta and also Congresswoman Ana York Bondok, and other local municipalities from Macabebe and Masantol were there for that inaugurations for the creations of flood control located in Bebeanak, Masantol. So you just choose one, any of these four, and then develop it into essay, at least 250 words. Okay? All right, these are the references I've used for this study, for this presentation. We have Sebastian Evelyn, 2000, Integrated Approach to Reading and Writing. Mac Publishing, Quezon City, Philippines, page 45 and 49. That writing, that shouldn't be included. The other writer is Livan Kathleen, 1998, writing a composition Trailblazer, Manila, Philippines, page 58 to 65. And then this one, you're supposed to click this one, and then the website or the URL, Universal Resource Locator, will be reflected. I've got this for the August 7 inaugurations of plot control in Bebe and now. This is the link where is. Okay, that's all for this morning. Okay, thank you for watching and have a great day ahead for everyone.